Hey ladies, I had a request to do a sequence addressing low back pain and also building strength in the low back. Having a little baby is really hard on your body. All of the good alignment that people do or that your body needs to not experience pain and tension goes right out the window when you have a baby and you need to breastfeed and you're really tired and you have to carry a baby on a hip or a car seat. So being able to practice yoga just a little bit here and there can help release some of the tension that causes pain and help build strength so that your body can begin to go back to holding good alignment. So I'm going to practice with Sage today so that you guys can see how I practice when he needs me. So often when the low back hurts, it's because we've lost the natural curves of the spine. So the natural curvature of the spine, it goes in, that's a lordotic curve, in and up. It goes back a little bit, the shoulders stay back, and then the head often goes back. However, when we have a baby, hips often go forward, low back will round out, shoulders come forward, and the head will come forward. That's one misalignment we'll address, is the rounding of the low back. That's not my tendency. You'll either have the tendency of rounding in the low back, or what I do, I overdump in the low back. So I have too much of a curve, so I have to do more belly work to have that curve still be there, but less of a curve. So I like to sit up on something when I sit, because that helps establish that in and up curve of my back. If I sit flat on the floor, it's more likely my low back will round. So you can also sit up on a pillow or a couch cushion. We want the belly to tone in, so the belly remembers that it's no longer a hammock, that it's this strong thing that helps us function day to day. So exhale, and then pull your belly in and up. Inhale, belly expands. Exhale, belly pulls in and up. We'll do that with our breath. Bring your hands up in front of your heart. Take a moment to acknowledge that you found time, even if it's just 1 or 2 minutes, to connect back to yourself and take time for yourself. The more we can maintain our own health and happiness, the more we'll be able to give our love to our baby. Great, release your hands down, open your eyes, and let's take one hand behind your hip and stretch your other arm up. Roll your inner thighs to the floor. That will make that in and up curve of your low back. Draw your shoulders back, press your head back, and if your ribs stick out a ton like mine are doing, pull your ribs in so the belly tones and stretch up through that left arm. As you inhale, come back through center, second side. So it doesn't matter how far over you go, instead of coming all the way over, that will shorten the side body. I just want you to get up and lengthen this right rib cage. Deep breaths. Every exhale, pulling that belly button in towards your spine, back to center, and then start to circle out your spine. Oh, so good. It's amazing how good yoga feels after having a baby, because my body needs it so much. And then go the other direction. This one has nothing to do with alignment. It just feels good. Great. Come to table, hands and knees. Make sure you're pushing your finger pads and your knuckle ridges into the floor so you don't get any wrist, elbow, or shoulder problems, being more flexible and all after just having that baby. And then we're going to just link our breath with the movement. So as you inhale, open your chest as you stretch your inner thighs back and get as long as you can on your side body. If you had a C-section, don't go as far if you feel any discomfort. And then exhale, press into your head, scoop your tailbone, or press into your hand, scoop your tailbone, round your spine. And then inhale, open it up. Just moving with the breath. Reminding the spine that it can move, it's not fused. And then I like to imagine my spine is a jump rope, and I'm going to circle it around. And there's not much alignment here. This is just bringing more length into the side body and waking the body up. Another direction. Sometimes I'll put Sage down on my mat so he's looking at me here, and I can do these things and be like, "Goo-goo," and play with him here. Now we're going to find length in our spine, so stretch your chest forward and your inner thighs back. So this is that example of over dumping in the low back. I have that curve I want, but I want less of it. So I'm going to keep that curve. I'm going to scoop my tailbone down just enough so my belly engages, and I'm going to pull my floating ribs in. So now I have that curve, that healthy curve, but it's not a collapse. I'm going to soften between my shoulder blades, integrating those rhomboid muscles, those muscles that become overstretched when we breastfeed a lot. And then stretch your right leg back. Tendency is to open your hip, and we want to keep the back level, so lift your inner thigh up. So even your right pinky toe faces the floor, and you can check by dropping your head and making sure those 5 toes are facing the floor. Inner thighs go back, tailbone pulls under, strong belly, and stretch your chest forward. This might be enough for you, or with a really strong right hand, stretch your left hand forward, left thumb up to open the neck. And I can feel my ribs dropping here, so I'm going to pull my ribs in more. And then back through table. Yes, look at the little birdie. Look at the little birdie. So heart forward, inner thighs back, tailbone pulls in to tone the belly, soft between your shoulder blades. Left leg extends back. Squeeze the leg to the midline, lift up your inner thigh. All 5 left toes face the floor, and stretch your heart forward. Sometimes I notice people bend their elbows really weird when they do this, so keep your arms straight and keep pressing into your hands. Stay here or extend your right arm forward. And then come back through table. This next pose is called Anahatasana. It's really good for integrating the shoulders. So walk your knees back and stretch your arms forward. Hips are right over the knees. Strong hands. Lift your armpits up. Press your inner thighs back. So again, that big collapse is happening in the low back. So scoop your tailbone and pull your waistline in. From the back of your heart, stretch out through your arms. Ears in line with your biceps and triceps. Core is working here. This is like downward facing dog prep. Keep lifting up through your armpits. That's going to integrate those rhomboid muscles. And then come back to table. We have you sliding down the chair. In table, heart forward, inner thighs back, tone your waistline. Stretch your right leg back. Keeping this right leg strong, lower your right toes so they just hover or touch. And inhale, leg back up. On your exhale, the leg slowly lowers. Inhale, leg back up. Lift up from that inner thigh so the hips stay squared, and keep pulling your belly in, so this is core work. I wasn't going to, but just for fun, we'll do some more leg work. Next time your leg comes up, keep it there. As you exhale, bend your leg. Inhale, straighten. Bend. Hey, Dharma. Straighten. Bend. Straighten. Make sure you're not bending your elbows as you get tired. Bend. Straighten. Last time, bend. This time, imagine there's a ball right above your foot and kick the ball, and then bring the knee towards the floor. Belly stays toned. Kick the ball. Knee to floor. Kick. Knee to floor. Kick. Straighten. This is my favorite. Open the foot and bring your foot way out. Keep stretching your heart forward. Keep lifting your leg up. Even look at your foot and go, I can bring my foot more forward and bring it way more forward. Sage, look at mommy's foot. And then stretch your leg back. Inner rotate that inner thigh up. Pull your waistline in. Back through table. Second time, left leg. Squared hips, chest forward, belly in with your breath. Yeah. Inhale, straighten your leg. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. My tendency is to collapse my ribs so I can feel myself going down with no core work, so I have to keep pulling my ribs in. That might not be you. If you don't have flexibility in your spine, you might be rounding up and you don't have to think ribs in as much. Next time knee bends, keep it there. Kick that ball, knee hovers. Kick that ball, knee hovers. Kick that ball. Kick that ball. Leg out to the side. Strong arms. Don't let your right elbow bend. Foot comes over and up, over and up. Smile. Ah. Back. To a table. Back on your heels. Roll out your wrist. You can rock your knees in a little bit. If this doesn't feel good for your knees, don't do it. Sit normally. Shake out your wrists. Downward facing dog. Put your hands and lift up. Just like that other pose, lift your armpits up. Hump onto your tippy toes and bend your knees and press your inner thighs back. So we're trying to get as long as we can in the side bodies. Yeah. Keeping the armpits lifted and the inner thighs back. Scoop your tailbone just enough to tone your belly and extend your heels down. I can't believe how tight the back of my legs are from being a mom. So I like to take one toe between my big toe and my second toe and help root the opposite heel down to stretch the Achilles tendon. If it doesn't go down, that's okay. We just want the stretch. Armpits stay lifted. Okay, bring your knees back down to the floor. Right arm comes out and threads in between the left arm. Come up onto your fingertips. Press the whole right arm down into the floor. Slide your left shoulder and armpit back. Roll back on your head. And then pull your waistline in a ton. This is super nice for targeting the low back. And then you can start to swing your hips towards the right to move the stretch. Keep pulling the shoulders back. Second side. Arm goes out. Thread through. Come onto the fingertips of your right hand. Pull your right shoulder back, lean back, and then draw the left hip towards the left. Waistline pulls in. Downward facing dog. Bring your feet forward. So I'm pretty flexible, but if you have a big round in your low back, that's the opposite of the healthy spine we want. So bend your knees as much as you need so that you can start to point your tailbone to the sky and get that curve. Even if you're way down here, that's okay. I just don't want this round to be happening because we want to get length in the hamstrings, not length in the joints of the vertebrae. Draw your inner thighs towards the back of the room and take your hands to your knees and come up to a flat back. Again, I don't want this round happening, so bend your knees, draw your inner thighs back, press your heart forward and tone your belly. Exhale, forward fold. 2 more times. Inhale, flat back, creating the natural curves of your spine, and fold. Hands above your knees. Then bend your knees like you're sitting in a chair. Draw your inner thighs back, lift your chest. So you inhale, open up. Exhale, round and scoop. Inhale, open up. Exhale, round and scoop. Open up. Round and scoop. And then circle out your belly button. This looks funny, but I think it feels really good to take your hands to your hips and do hip circles. I did this so much when I was pregnant. Come back to that chair. Stretch your arms up, push into your feet, come up and stretch. Inner thighs back, armpits back, ribs in, push into your feet, stretch up even more. Right hand holds your left wrist. Lean over to the right. Doesn't matter how far you go, just get this lifted. Keep your inner thighs back. Switch sides. Stretch up and fold. Plant your hands down your facing dog. Stretch your right leg up just like in table. Inner thigh stays lifted so the hips are squared. And second side. Step your right foot forward, pivot your feet, wide leg forward fold. If you like to use a block, you can use soup cans or stack of books to get yourself a little bit higher. Strong legs, so put a little bend in your knees and try to squeeze your feet towards each other to tone them. And then draw your inner thighs back so you get that curve in your low back. And then stretch your chest forward. Left hand on your prop underneath your face, right hand to your hip. Inner thighs stay going back as you twist from the left towards the right. Lengthen up your armpits, squeeze your shoulders back and press your head back. Pull the ribs in. If it feels good on your arm, you can stretch it up. I don't like focusing on my shoulder as much, so I like to keep my hand on my hip. Inhale, unwind, lengthen. Second side. There's two ways you can do this twist. One is to let your hips go with you as you twist. The other is to keep that right sit bone pulled back so the hips stay stacked. I like to do that right hip staying back right now because the joints are so loose from the pregnancy hormones. Pull your belly in, twist. Maybe stretch your arm out. Dharma, come here. This is my dog, Dharma. Unwind, lengthen, bend your knees, squeeze in, draw those inner thighs back, tone your belly. So this is all stuff to teach the body how to hold that natural curvature of the spine. Take your hands to your hips, push into your feet, come back to center, and then come all the way onto your back. Sage, you've been so good. Yeah. So I want that curve of my back, so what I don't want is my back completely flattened to the floor with my tailbone scooped. So I'm gonna push into my feet and squeeze my feet to the midline. That will make my inner thighs strong, and then roll the inner thighs towards the floor. Buddy. That will put a curve in my low back. I have too much of a curve though, so I'm gonna scoop my tailbone. So I can slide my hand under, but I couldn't slide like anything bigger than my hand under. Lift your right leg up towards the sky. Spread your toes, cross your right foot over your left knee. Keep your foot active, that will protect your knee joint, and then push your knee towards the front of the room. Those tight muscles will pull on your low back to round it to avoid getting the stretch. So keep pushing your sit bones to the floor as you press your knee forward. You can stay here, or you can lift up the foot and interlace your hands behind your thigh. Pulling the left knee in, pushing the right knee forward, and pushing your sit bones to the floor. Take a deep breath and lengthen up through your armpits and squeeze your shoulders back. Second side. Look at the birdies. Look at the birdies. Yeah. Left leg goes up, foot active. Cross your ankle over your knee. Left knee goes forward, sit bones go down. Right knee pulls in. Maybe hands interlace behind that thigh. Keeping this left foot spread is protecting my knee from getting too flexible. And one thing we don't want more flexible in our body is our knees. Draw your shoulders up and squeeze them back. Keep pushing those sit bones into the floor. This is a really good one for getting the muscle tension out of the low back that can cause pain and discomfort. Awesome. Right leg up. Interlace your hands behind your thigh. Squeeze your shoulders back, and I'm going to push my whole right leg forward as I pull up on my hands. So I am manually mashing my femur bone into my hamstring. And that's going to clear up some stuff in my sacral iliac joint, the low back. Make it feel a lot better. This is one of my go-to moves when my low back hurts. Sometimes my leg will start shaking as I push my leg into my hands. Drawing the sit bones down. And second side. If your leg doesn't get straight up here, you can do it like this with your knee bent. You don't get the hamstring stretch, but you still get that cleared up SI joint. Bring your feet down. Take your feet as wide as the mat. Let both of your knees go over towards the right. Lift up through your armpits. Maybe turn your head to the left. Come back through center. Knees to the left. Lengthen, head to the right. Soles of the feet together, knees out. I like to place one hand on my belly and one on my heart. Surviving another day of motherhood. And open your legs for Shavasana. If this was my real practice, I would just lay here until Sage started acting up. And then I know it was over. But we'll just lie here for a few minutes. Close your eyes. All that stress, anxiety, tiredness, sadness, whatever it is, every exhale, feel it releasing into the earth. And every inhale, filling yourself up with joy, energy, peace, whatever good qualities you want to cultivate more of in your body. Stay here longer if you have the time. If not, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Breathe deeply into your belly, feeling recharged for the day. Bend your knees and roll over to the right side. This is our transition into the day, so don't rush it. Press yourself up to table. We didn't do this one, but it's a good one. Child's pose. I like to take my knees wide and come down. If your head doesn't touch the floor, you can grab your books. I do this when I feel really overwhelmed. Imagine that all that stuff in my head can just drain out to earth. Up into a seated position. Get that in and up curve. Bring your hands up in front of your heart. Lift your heart towards your thumbs. Draw your shoulders back. Bow your head to your heart. You are so amazing. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste. Namaste.